I just came in from my evening hunt. It was kind of uneventful. Had a little doe come in, and that was about it. A little bit of rain off and on. Temperature was pretty cool, but you never know, because this morning's hunt was very interesting. It was exciting on top of that. I've definitely seen proof that the rut is happening right now. Had 3 bucks come in. One came in early with a doe, hot doe. The other one may have been there, but it was dark, so I couldn't really tell yet. But he was a little bit smaller than the first one. The first one was a really nice buck. Definitely a shooter if I get an opportunity. But the littler one, which also could have been a shooter, was harassing the big one like nobody's business, just grunting and a stomping and a chasing and running back and forth. But when it come down to it, he wasn't tough enough to fight the big one, because he just run off when the big one would make a move toward him. But that's cool. And then a 3rd buck came in. The smaller buck actually ran over to my north fence and kind of sort of escorted the 3rd buck in. So I tried to shoot the big buck, the biggest, definitely the dominant buck, and my crossbow would not shoot. Disappointing, to say the least. That's the 3rd time it's happened to me. And what is happening is I'm not getting it cocked deep enough into the string. So the first click is just sets the safety, but it does not set the trigger. You got to get it deep enough, pull it back hard enough to set the trigger. Well, I hope I never make that mistake again, but I can't promise I won't. I got some footage after I tried to shoot. I put my crossbow down and just got my phone out. I didn't have a camera this morning. I probably should have, or I know I should have, because man, it was crazy cool. I sent out a little short this morning after the hunt and advertising that I was going to put some footage on here. So I'm going to put that footage on here now, and I'll have to voice over it. The wind was so bad and I was trying to whisper, but I'll put that footage on here, and then I'm going to follow it up with some pictures and short videos from my game cam. Hope y'all enjoy. So just a little voiceover to try to explain what's going on in this video. I'm shooting this with my cell phone, so it's kind of all over the place. I got it zoomed in, but so it's very early in the morning, but there is a large buck kind of mid-screen left, and a smaller buck to the right. There's another doe up there running around. The big buck is chasing the little buck, and he's just hanging out there, kind of standoff, like Mexican standoff or whatever you would call it. But he is not having that little buck getting close to a hot doe, which is off to the left. I think I'll pan over there here in just a minute, but man, they just stand there. He turned around. I cut out about 7 or 8 minutes of him just standing there poised, waiting on the little buck to try to do something. So he's just hanging out. It's really low light. I know the cell phone picks it up and shows it as quite a bit of light, but it's not real bright yet. It is during shooting light, but not bright. yet. So there, the doe off to the left, I thought was fixing to show up in screen, but it's not yet. So he's still, that little buck is grunting, stomping, taunting, just trying to get the big boy to fight. But every time he comes toward him, he runs off. Every time the big boy moves toward the little buck, the little smaller buck, the little buck runs off. There's the littler buck, smaller buck, which is still a shooter, but in his own right. It's a pretty decent buck. I think there's the doe. She's hard to see in the grass there, but she's standing right there. There's the big buck. There's two does here, but appears only one of them is in heat right now. The other one eases into the feeder here in a minute and really not getting paid attention to. But here comes the hot doe in, and she pulls the big buck back into the feeder here in just a minute. But she is definitely hot. And he's paying attention to her, but the little buck's still hanging out over there, and he does not want the little buck near her. There's the other doe in the feeder. So it's just kind of a crazy morning. I wish the wind wasn't so bad. You could hear the grunting and the stomping and the going on, that little buck taunting that big buck. Big buck, as far as I can tell, never made a noise. He just, it's like, here I am, fella, come get me. But like he's working his way back into the feeder now. He actually takes a little time to eat some corn here in a minute. But the doe wondering what's going on. They're all looking to the north. I know the little buck and the other doe's out of screen, but when they all looking to the north, there's another buck up there. At first I thought it was a doe, but it's a buck. And the little buck heads up to the north right here, and he runs right up to that other buck. Kind of escorts him back into onto us. That's our north fence up there where you can see the grass change. But he brings him back, and then we have three bucks, and all three of them are really decent 8-point or bigger bucks. I really wish you could see the horns, because they're pretty impressive. You can get a glimpse of them here and there, but nothing to really give you a good idea. It's much easier for me to see. I was looking through binoculars while I was filming this. That's why the camera moves off some too. So here comes the smaller buck in the front, and he just jumped. The big buck just jumped back into the feeder ring. But now I think it shows here in just a second where the smaller buck is coming back, and the other buck that just joined the party is coming back with him. It's kind of like the little buck is escorting the third buck into the arena. I don't know. Man, it's just been a crazy morning. But so the one that went up is to the right, but the other one decides he's coming in faster. You can kind of get a glimpse of his rack there. It's a pretty decent rack. All of them are 8-point or bigger, like I said. But anyway, the bigger buck takes note that they're there, but he goes back to eating a little more corn. And again, I'm looking through binoculars at the same time, and the light gathering capabilities on the binocular let me see a little better than what you can see with this phone. Now he's chasing doe a little bit, and she's not having it. No, I'm sorry, that's one of the other bucks that slipped in there. He's pushing him out. And there's the second one. Just dipped into the upper left screen. But anyway, it is such a crazy thing to watch. Nature is miraculous. The Lord really knew what he was doing when he created animals, and it's just incredible. It's an incredible thing to watch and experience, and just to be there. There's the two bucks off to the left, and the big buck in the middle, and then the doe was off to the right. He's coming back again to the feeder, and they're just taunting him some more. But like I said, every time he goes toward them, they just run off. They're not tough enough to stay in there and fight him, or they ain't brave enough. Maybe they are tough enough, but I really thought I was going to see them fight first thing this morning when I first noticed that there was two bucks. Early, I knew there was a doe, and I knew there was the big buck. But when the third deer, the second smaller buck, come in, I thought it was a doe, and then I was like, wait a minute, that one's got headgear too. So I got the binoculars out and checked it out, and then it was a little bit later I attempted to make the shot with the crossbow. Sorry, I'm looking through the binoculars here and not getting focus on the phone, but I attempted the shot with the crossbow, and what I learned was I did not get it seated. There's the hot doe back. Did not get the string seated all the way and the trigger set. So when I pulled the trigger, it just went click and would not fire. It's pretty disappointing, but that's why they call it hunting and not shooting. You gotta get everything to work in your favor. And look at that guy, man. He's impressive. He's impressive, but he sure is interested in that little doe. So he's pushing the doe out. She wasn't having no more of it, so she took off. And just like that, the other two bucks come in behind them and take off right there, and the whole thing's over. Just like that, they're gone. They jumped my north fence and started turning around, shut them little bucks down. But shooter bucks in here and a third buck, and my crossbow would not go off. I'm gonna try and see. I think I got pictures with the camera of my game cam of the bigger buck, the biggest of the three. The other two never got close enough. The big buck wouldn't let them. But man, that was awesome to witness. I videoed part of it. My crossbow wouldn't shoot, and it about half sick because of that. But hey, I'll put a picture in here if I got one from the camera.